Hey guys, welcome back to the Hear Me Roar pod. I am Tobi and my co-host is none other than the Kate Save, which you might know her from Shark Tank. She's also founder of BeFit Foods and picked up Telstra's Business of the Year award too. Kate?
Well, Tobi, you've got a super impressive CV, 25 years in global commercialisation experience, and you founded Creative Cubes, Australia's leading co-working space and real estate business.
All right, let's get on with the pod.
Welcome back to the pod.
Kate, you know, you light up when it comes to people coming on our show, when it's the medical, the nutrition, the sports world, and you go a little bit quiet when it's tech, entrepreneurship.
Learning, I'm processing, taking secret notes.
Actually, I think I do the polar opposite. So I love working with you because firstly, you bring on amazing guests, but secondly, you fill a massive gap where I'm grossly incompetent. And I like to think, not that you're grossly incompetent, I like to think that I fill the gap for you.
Absolutely.
But
yes.
But your energy when it comes to, you know, medical professionals and elite people in your field joining us today on Hear Me Roar, like you're up and ready to go. So
well, our next guest, I think, is really important because the size of this problem in Australia is very, very overlooked. And so I will, how about we cut to a break and we'll introduce our guest.
Guys, we'll take a break. We'll hear from our guys at Rise and Dr. David.
Guys, I want to introduce you to Rise, a business cohort like no other. So what is the Rise Network? Rise Network is a curated inner circle of 10 to 12 like-minded peers designed to provide a confidential, high-trust environment where business owners and leaders can gain strategic insights, actionable solutions, and lasting relationships. Rise isn't just networking, it's a game-changing business support system. It has strategic problem solving built in, expert facilitation, actionable insights, long-term impact and authentic relationships, and it's based exclusively around high-trust cohorts. For your membership, you gain full access to Creative Cubes. That means you can drop in when you're on the run to use the meeting rooms, breakout spaces, or even just dock in for the day. We wanted to serve the underserved, the people that do need the help, do need the support, don't necessarily have the funds to be able to do it, and don't necessarily fit into one of these other organizations. And so that's where Rise kind of came from. So there you have it, guys. Go to werise.au, and I hope to see you at one of our cohorts soon.
Welcome, David.
Good to be here.
I am so excited to have you here because I've heard a few things that you've talked about with David being cardiologist and the statistics around women and men and heart disease. Shock us with some stats.
Look, it's a sobering fact that there's a fair chance that one of the three of us is going to die of heart disease.
Sure.
It is the most common cause of death in Australia. It's the most common cause of death in just about every country in the world. And it's maybe not the best way to put it, but it's actually still the most common cause of death in the Ukraine right now is heart disease. At the peak of COVID, the most common cause of death was not COVID, it was heart disease.
Yeah, I believe that.
And what we've really been pushing in the last few years is it's not just a fat white man's disease.
Yes.
Cardiology has realised that heart disease is something that affects everyone. And we've not been good at promoting the fact that as a woman, you're more likely to die of heart disease than anything else.
Yeah, right.
20 years from now, when you're a 50-year-old woman, Kate, you'll realise that you're 7 times more likely to die of heart disease than breast cancer. Now,
wow.
I know you quite well, but I imagine that you're doing everything to reduce your risk of breast cancer. You're doing the breast examinations, you're getting the mammograms when it's time.
Yeah.
Are you doing everything you need to do about your risk of cardiovascular disease? And to the audience there, I don't think they are.
No way.
How do you know what you're meant to do? What do you do? What have you checked about your heart?
Well, I'm an elite athlete trapped in this 5'10" white Jewish body. So it's interesting though. I definitely need to get checked, and I'll tell you why. I have a really low heart rate, and I'm actually can run. So I could run 40 Ks, no problem. And my resting heart rate is, you ready for this? So when I'm lying in bed, I can't sleep with my watch on because my heart rate drops to 28 beats.
Look, again, for you as a strong runner, I'm not worried about that.
Yep.
I'm not worried about a resting heart rate.
Yep.
I'm worried about an exercise heart rate. And as a runner, you know that the most important thing is actually how quickly it recovers after you peak.
Yep,
so
right.
Get yourself up to your peak, and then how quickly you drop back down. That's a sign of fitness. Now, being at 28 suggests you might want to look at your training program. But again, that's a separate issue from, are you at risk of heart disease?
Yep.
Because that doesn't worry me.
So
it does worry me for people listening. If you're not an elite athlete trapped in a 5'10" Jewish body and you've got a heart rate of 28, that is a problem.
So Doc, we actually opened this segment before James pressed record here. We talked about nippers.
Yep.
And one of the things that I used to love at my club is we had some amazing athletes, and commentary on a Saturday afternoon when Channel 9 Wide World of Sports would cover the Ironman was how quickly they recovered when they got on the wave.
Yep.
And by the time the wave had sort of fizzled out for them and they were about to pull up and run out of the ocean, they were fully recovered. And that's something that stayed with me from a young age to 45 now, to that recovery is very, very important. And I think I'm there, but this isn't about me. Let's talk about the regular people out there and the situations that you've seen.
So the average person, when they get to a certain age, needs to assess their risk of heart disease.
Yep.
And that age is definitely 45 for men.
Yep.
It's probably 50 for women.
Okay.
At the absolute latest, you should be assessing your risk of heart disease. What we want to know as cardiologists is, do you have heart disease right now?
Yep.
And that heart disease is typically, when we talk about heart attacks, it's typically, do you have cholesterol in your heart?
Yep.
And it's a yes or no answer. And it's pretty simple to work out. There's some tests involved, but we should know in everyone at a certain age, do they have cholesterol in your heart? If either of you have cholesterol in your heart, you need that treated.
Yeah.
I have cholesterol in my heart. I'm a cardiologist. I obviously got the test done. I have cholesterol in my heart. I'm on treatment. I didn't want to go on treatment, did the test, saw the cholesterol, I'm on treatment.
Yeah, wow.
We should be looking for disease at an early stage. And we equate a lot with the cancer doctors. Cancer doctors look for early stage cancer.
Yep.
Too often, patients are waiting for symptoms to look for heart disease. We should be looking for early stage heart disease.
Yeah.
If you've got early stage heart disease, get on your BeFit foods, get on your right diet, get on your exercise program, get everything right. And you might not need me later in life.
Yeah.
You don't want to meet me at 2 a.m. in the morning when you're having a heart attack. You want to meet me at 4 o'clock on a Friday when we can talk about ways of preventing this.
So a couple of massive call outs there. Firstly, I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years. I learned the American system is cure after, cure before prevention. Or their focus is on curing, not preventing. That's the right way to say it. In Australia, I grew up slip, slop, slap. Prevention is better than cure. Let's get in front of it, not behind it. So I think there's a massive call out there. The second call out that you had was the fact that you're on treatment. That to me is a bit ambiguous in as much as you look like a fit and healthy person sitting in front of us today, and the energy coming out of you is electric. What does treatment look like? Is it a couple of tablets? Are we trying to get the cholesterol out? Are you stuck with it forever? Like, how does this work?
So we're getting into the depths without getting into. So let me tell you that I use the word treatment specifically because going on a tablet does not solve any problems.
Sure.
Going on a tablet is a part of a treatment regimen.
I love this.
That covers the whole lot.
Yep.
Now, if I see you, if a doctor sees you early enough, then we may avoid the need for medications. If I see you late enough and I put you on medications and don't deal with the other stuff, I've done you no good either. My disclosure is I'm married to a naturopath. So a lot of people think I'm anti-medications. I'm far from anti-medications. I'm just really positive about lifestyle to go with the medications when it's necessary. As you can imagine, I spend my day seeing people who don't want to go on medications and want to do this lifestyle. And I say it's the things that go together.
Yes.
If you've already got cholesterol in your heart, you're going to need some medications to go with the lifestyle. If you haven't got cholesterol in your heart yet, hit the lifestyle hard and you might not need to see me for medications later in life.
Yeah, amazing.
And that's really the key here, that you cannot lower cholesterol with a tablet alone and let people keep eating rubbish. You've got to eat a healthy diet. You've got to exercise regularly. You've got to manage your stress. You've got to have connections. You've got to have relationships, because without that, your life's going to be short regardless. Yeah. And who wants to live a life where you don't have all of that stuff anyway?
That's right.
And where is the GP referral for this? I can think of 20 of my girlfriends and their partners that definitely have a very unhealthy lifestyle. And it is obvious that if you have been gaining weight for years and years and years, something's probably up. But where is that referral and that preventative step before you're finding them in the hallway?
Well, I think it also at that stage, it's sort of like your environment. You know, someone in your environment's not allowing or not creating accountability. So that's a
67% of the population are overweight or obese here in Australia. So we are talking about the majority of families. Like, there's a fair majority, but are those people, have they had their heart checked? And I know my friends haven't. But where is that referral? How do they get that first referral? And what is that first? What are you looking for? What are you testing for in that first case? What's Tobi got to do?
So don't turn the focus on me, guys. Like,
what's Kate got to do?
Look, it is a really important question that, you know, we're Australia's largest heart organisation. We're looking at ways around the status quo, and the status quo is you've got to wait till you've got symptoms before you get sent to your heart specialist. So, you know, and again, as a disclosure, Kate and I worked together at a Diabetes Victoria event, and we were there just asking the people there, do you want your heart checked? Come and see us. We work with Melbourne City, and for all the supporters and the players at Melbourne City, we're open to do heart checks for them. The Australian system has a strategy in place, but that strategy is not being adopted. I'm not sure if Mark Butler, the health minister, listens to this, but he brought in a really good measure around a GP heart health check. It's just not being done all that often. Look, the Heart Foundation tell you it's been done at 100,000 in the last 6 months. That's great. But there's 16 million people in Australia with the risk factor for heart disease. If you're worried about your risk of heart disease and you're 45-year-old male, 50-year-old female, you've got a family history, you're First Nations, you need to find out, do I have disease in my heart? And we can do that with some pretty straightforward, non-invasive tests. But you've got to get in our door to get that done.
You know what I think we should do? This is absolutely wild, but maybe I should go and get tested, and we should put it on
record it. I love it. And tell me, some of this testing is free. What is the first bit that you offer that is free?
So the principle here is if you are referred to us for a heart assessment, then this is done at a bulk billing rate.
Yeah. So the person is not out of pocket, and the government is pushing that people should be having these heart tests. So why aren't people doing it?
There are intricacies in all of this.
Yeah.
And in an ideal system, absolutely the GP should be doing this.
Yes.
But the GPs are full. The GPs are busy.
You know what they should have done? Instead of locking us down and making us take this vaccine, they should have locked us down and said, go get your heart checked, and you can't get out of your house unless you've had your heart checked.
Look, again, it's...
I'm being jocular.
No. But you're absolutely spot on that if we want to change health in Australia, you think about the money that's lost in Australia from cardiovascular disease, which is heart stroke. It's enormous. If we put 1/10 of that into prevention, we would solve all of the problems we have. But it's not the way that politics work. Now, I'm actually a big fan of Mark Butler at the moment. I think he's got the right idea. He understands the impact of heart disease. Now, there's political ramifications each way on how we do this. You know, one of the ways we've pushed to overcome this is let the patient come to us without a referral. So we get them off the street, they come straight to us, and we can get it done. That's the American system. That hasn't really worked. Right. You do want the GP involved, because I work out that you've got slightly high blood pressure, slightly high cholesterol. Say, get yourself on a nice low-carb, high-protein diet, do some exercise, get your blood test done in 3 months. I want the GP reporting that blood test and making sure that things are okay, because I'm more expensive than the GP. Yeah. So we do have to look at how we manage this. But the key is everyone in Australia is entitled to get their heart checked. And what we've been pushing a lot in women's heart health is push with the GP. Tell the GP you want this done, because the GP might not always do it. The GP will never stop you having your mammogram. Why are they stopping you having your heart health check? Yeah. That's the bit that I want to say.
And do you think it should be like something that the GP like puts on the front foot? instead of me going to the GP and going, I've got a problem, and we work on that problem, do you think that they should widen their lens as a practitioner to sort of like, hey, how old are you? Like, I recommend, and then in doing that
I don't want this to become too political, but you know what a GP earns these days?
Right,
about a quarter of what a plumber earns.
Right.
So to say to a GP, can you please spend half an hour with this patient and I'll give you the equivalent of a cup of coffee. So we don't fund GPs to do preventative medicine. And so that becomes out of pocket, and there's a whole political issue around out of pocket costs. If you want to get a proper heart assessment, it's going to take you half an hour. There's very few GPs are going to spend half an hour unless you're willing to pay for it.
I'm not even saying the GP does it. I'm just saying that the GP brings it to front of mind, because often I hear about these stories where someone's not been feeling well. They go to the doc and the doc treats the symptoms or the issues that they're facing, but there's actually an underlying bigger systemic issue that is overlooked because they weren't looking or they weren't double clicking. And I wonder whether or not, like, I walk in, not me, but said person walks in and says, I got a sore finger, and they go, how old are you? 45. Male, white, great. While you're here, you should also be, and then brings it to someone's attention, and then I'm in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, absolutely. That there's an onus there on multiple levels. But again, I pull this back to the mammogram. Every woman is getting the mammogram at the right time. Every woman is having their cervical smear test at the right time, because it's become part of the routine. How do we make that part of the routine?
There's a reminder in there. There's an SMS. There's a system.
Exactly.
So where's the reminder? Maybe that's the missing piece.
Yeah, I'm thinking tech and workflows and call to actions and a whole bunch of things like user experience. Why this doesn't exist in the medical world.
So there's areas where it does exist.
But not in totality. And to hear you rattle off stats around, the biggest, like one of the three of us is going to experience this. You already openly say you're in treatment for it, quote unquote. It's pretty alarming, Doc.
There's not many cardiologists in Australia who don't know whether they've got heart disease or not.
Yeah.
No matter what age they are. And if it's good enough for us, it's good enough for everyone else. And again, we're sitting here in South Melbourne, metropolitan Melbourne. You go out to the regions, you go remote, things get really scary. There's just no access to this. And again, you talk tech. We're working really hard with our tech partners around developing virtual programs for this. Yeah. Mail out monitors, mail out blood tests. So there are things in place. They're just not being accepted at a national level. They're being accepted sporadically. Yeah,
and again, like this podcast is not to talk about politics, religion, money, all that sort of stuff, but just the facts here, right? They had this amazing ability to make us vote.
Yep.
They have this amazing ability to lock us down and make us take these things that are unproven in terms of the vaccines. This just seems so low-hanging fruit, so simple, so in the best interest of the people. Why we haven't got something in place at scale. And I think the government is largely incompetent, to be honest with you, but like how we haven't got something like this.
Well, we can't solve the why, but what can the people do? Where do they start, David?
I think we can solve the why, but we'll leave that for now.
Oh, can we? Let's solve the why.
No. Again, we've decided to go outside the government, and we are going to run this program, even if it's a cost to patients, because we want it done.
Yeah.
Internally, we call it Heart Path, and we're going to actually get people who want to get their heart checks done in partnership with the right people. And that was part of our Melbourne City relationship. Is if you're a supporter of Melbourne City, we'll do your Heart Path check for you. We want to do that with sporting organisations. Because
what about entrepreneurs? What about Creative Cubes? You've got how many members?
35,000.
So all 35,000
we
need
want
a
to
check.
target these people and say, look, even if you can't get this done through your GP, we'll do it for you. And what people need, back to the real question is, what do people need? They need an assessment of their risk, and then we need to look and see if they've got early stages of disease. And the assessment of risk questionnaire, family history. Let me just touch on family history because people get confused. If you've got a 97-year-old grandmother who was a smoker who had a heart attack, that's somewhat important. But if you've got a first-degree relative, mother, father, brother or sister under the age of 60 who had a heart problem, that is really significant. That puts you in a completely different risk category. So that sort of family history, if you're a smoker, if you're First Nations, low socioeconomic status, stressful job, you need to get your heart risk assessed. Blood test, questionnaire, blood pressure check. If they're abnormal, then you need an ultrasound of your heart, an echo test, and probably a calcium score or a CT scan to tell me, do I have cholesterol in my heart or not? If you've got no cholesterol, that doesn't mean you're off the hook. In the same way as if you have your mammogram, you don't have breast cancer, you don't think, beauty, I'm never going to get it. It says you don't have it now.
Yes.
Put the lifestyle factors in place, lose some weight, exercise more, eat healthy, and we'll check you again in 5 years. But if you've got disease in your heart, let me talk to you about the things that are going to reduce your risk of dying.
Yeah.
Doc, I want to team up with you. You make a good point. 35,000 customers here. We should probably set up some sort of
pathway.
Well, mobile clinic that we take over a meeting room, have a doctor come in, or alternatively refer if people are a little uncomfortable having this assessment in the workplace. But I think we can make positive impact together. And I'd love to do whatever we can on our side to get that message out. We have a media division at Cubes. We run all of our ads on our screens. We should be putting up screens about this. If it's as serious as you say it is, and I believe that, then I have an ability to unlock a huge audience to try help them.
Our Be Fit Food customers, if it was the central location, could also come in, get a day pass,
whatever,
and get some tested.
A day pass to one side, they just come in and get tested. I think we need to take this offline and see what we can do. We have 15 sites across Australia. We can have, those set up with mobile docs to run assessments. We may have to send people to a clinic instead for privacy and confidentiality.
How many clinics across Australia?
We've got 70 clinics,
there we
150 doctors, 1,000 staff across Australia. We can, you're spot on, the privacy bit's important. I've done this at big corporate events, and you can't ask the sort of questions you want to ask. But we know. Again, we did this.
The reason why I say do it here is only because if I say, hey, go see so-and-so, three blocks from here and hang a left and a right, it's like, I don't have time for that. But if I'm right here and all you got to do is 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we've got consults happening on the Thursday, every Thursday of every month. There's 15 spots available at each. I'm making this stuff up. How much easier and how much more convenient. And then from me, our mission is to enable success. You're no good to anyone else if you're no good to yourself, right? We talked about that when Ollie was on our show last week. And so I feel a bit of ownership here, to be honest with you.
And how cool will it be that we end this podcast and we know that we're going to go on a mission to save 35,000 patients? You'll save 1,000 lives.
Yeah,
wow.
It's pretty impressive.
Well, I'm gonna try. I can bring the horses to water. And so I'm all in, Kate.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why I'm excited.
So Doc, we'll take that offline. A couple of things to tap on. You got 2 kids?
Yes.
Boy and a girl is what I heard.
Yep.
Your boy plays soccer?
Yep.
Is he a Melbourne City fan?
He's a Liverpool fan number 1. And he's up every single game. But Melbourne City is his second team. And we've been down, we've tested all the Melbourne City players for heart disease, all the coaches. They're a very cool club to be involved with.
Fantastic. My grandfather was a professional soccer player.
Yeah.
He played for Derby County. Back in the day, he was the number 1 goal scorer in the league. And set up my mum and the family really nicely from that success. But my mum's in her 70s now, and he was a professional soccer player when she was very young. So it's been a while. But and your daughter's into basketball? She's
into basketball. She's a super speedy point guard. Plays with Hawthorn Magic, but a big Southeast Melbourne Phoenix fan.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm relatively close to the Phoenix organisation, so we'll have to get you down there next season now. Unfortunately, we've graciously bowed out of the finals, losing to Grant Kelly's team, who's a really good friend of mine, and the Adelaide 36ers. And Adelaide, I love Adelaide. They're amazing. They're amazing people doing amazing things in Adelaide, and I'm sad to see that Phoenix lost, but to lose to Adelaide and the great caliber of talent and quality of the organisation, is a little bit of solace. I'm okay with it because of who they are. But we'll have to get your daughter to a Phoenix game next season.
Awesome.
Kate, we might wrap there and join. I'll come back to you after the break. We'll have a quick break from Luna.
weareluna.co is a great place for you and your business to start off with phenomenal accounting and legal services. So if you're a startup or a scale-up looking for legal and finance support, or alternatively looking to raise capital, weareluna.co is where you need to be starting off.
So cool to have David in here, hey?
Yeah.
And I think for me, it felt so important to get this message out because people don't know, and we are at that age now that people we know think they start disappearing. You have the first friend in your friend circle and then someone else and then someone else. And it's preventable. Like David said, if 10% of the healthcare budget went to prevention, this wouldn't exist.
Well, I'm annoyed that it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed that it sounds like it's quite political, and we don't have time for that on this show. But I'm all about the people, and what David was saying resonated with me on a whole bunch of different levels.
Yes.
But actually what it did was it motivated me to want to step up and say, if someone else isn't going to do it, it has to be done.
Yeah, and health is wealth. You've got all these incredible entrepreneurs here, and the saddest stories are the ones where they work so hard but they never get to see it. They don't see their family because they're working, and then something happens, they never get to enjoy,
That was my dad.
Yeah.
My dad died when he was 44. I'm 45. And, the success that he had, like, we don't even enjoy it. We don't even enjoy it as a family.
Yeah.
Because all we wanted was for him to be around.
Yeah.
But we're here.
Yeah.
And so I look at the loss of my dad as a lesson, not in a brutality way, like, I've got to do better, but as just like, I feel like you're flying down the freeway and there's a sign that says 2 kilometers next exit. And you ignore it and you run out of petrol, and you know what I mean? Like there's signs on the freeway that we're our lives, we're on these roads, or these paths, and sometimes the dashboard flashes up and sometimes it doesn't. Maybe it's a street sign, maybe you have to slow down. If you ignore these sorts of things that are in your peripheral,
and it destroys families.
Then you
does.
You are on that path to destruction. But if you could stop, heed, and act. Or listen and act, and
it doesn't cost money. This is the other part that's,
I actually don't even think, like, I saw something on social media a couple months ago where it was like, if I gave you $10 million, what would you do? Oh, yeah. All right, but there's a condition that if I gave you the $10 million, you have to, you're going to die tomorrow. Would you still take the money? And they're like, no. It's like, well, you value yourself at $10 million, and the numbers are relevant. So if I gave you $1 billion, like something completely unrealistic, but there's a condition that comes with it, what would you do? And the answer is no. Well, then that's the value that you place on your life.
Gosh.
So why are you like messing around and meddling around with all this nonsense?
Yeah.
Get on with something that's going to be of value and impact. I thought that was quite profound. Now, I don't have $1 billion to give you, Kate, but we can team up with Doc and try and make positive impact.
Love that. Thank you, Tobi.
All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.